tonight?
Same here. I am so excited. So, everybody who's watching us today, we're going to be talking about what is BDD and what's the possibility of BDD. And so, Chandana, you have been facilitating BDD Joy of Business classes for quite some time now, and you are an advanced JCF, as you call. So, what does that really stand for?
Well, an advanced JCF is an advanced Joy of Business certified facilitator. And it's, it's
I know how modest you are.
no, it's not about that. It's just I'm looking at, well, is that a label? Is that whatever? We are a number of us around the world, and each one of us is a different energy that brings you something different that maybe you are looking for. And with the Joy of Business classes that are happening around the world, and there's just so much of change that's showing up in people's realities when they're facilitating the classes and when they're being facilitated. Something that I love about Access classes, Palak, and you would know, you being a certified facilitator yourself and facilitating so many people around the world, you would also know how your life changes each time you facilitate a class.
True.
Yeah.
True.
And when you're facilitating a Joy of Business class, especially a Business Done Different class, which is like a 3-day class with the most magnificent manual, I call it the Bible. And there's so much that actually gets so much of awareness that you actually start to embrace. And there's so much of little areas of your life where you start to see where you yourself are stopping you. And you start to recognize by simply asking yourself questions that there's been this underlying value that you had attached to you stopping you. So it's like, if you're looking to create a business and you're really wanting to grow the business and the business is not growing, there's the general way of reaction of, I do everything. I put so much time. I put so much money into my business. It doesn't grow. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know what's going to happen. I need the right person. And, we go into all that frantic with business, and there is no question. This is why it's not working. This is the reason why it's not working. Whereas with Business Done Different, we don't give you answers. We don't give you solutions, but we actually ask you questions that has you looking at, what did you make so valuable about self-destruction? What did you make so valuable about stopping your business from growth? Which is the idea of why now Business Done Different 3 days is a prereq for certified facilitators. And coming to your question of JCF, well, we are the few certified. We are the few advanced JCFs who are actually facilitating this class as a prereq for everybody who's choosing to become a certified facilitator. And the class is the same. The class is the same whether you do it with a JCF or whether you do it with an advanced JCF. But yes, the advanced JCF class is one of the prereqs for your becoming a CF. So I hope that gave you clarity around that.
How does it get any better? What else is possible? So, is Business Done Different focused only for people who are into business the way this reality defines it, which means entrepreneurs and people who are, running their own business? Or in your experience, how has it been for people who are not from business background, so to say?
Yeah, thank you for that question, because this is something which is, when you go to a business school or you go to a business workshop, generally what shows up is, people giving you And I'm not saying that's wrong. I mean, it's a great contribution. You can always, look at that too and receive what you can from that. But generally, what you get from that is answers and solutions and equations of how to work your business, as whether you're working in a corporate, or whether you're an entrepreneur, or whether you're working with your brother, or you're working as a partnership, or whether you're working in a company, or in a startup, or whatever that is, right? It gives you answers, it gives you solutions, and you come out with lots of equations as to, if I add this, if I minus this is what's going to show up. And you feel you have all the right positioning on your chessboard to move forward. But in actuality, that is the right movements for somebody who actually created that format. It worked for him. It worked for him when he was creating his business. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. Some parts of it will, yes, for sure, and some parts of it will not. So this is a different way of actually creating, where you actually start to explore what works for you. You're creating a business, what works for you, along with you're creating your life, what works for you. So generally, when we look at business, like I said earlier, it's about, working in a business, business house, and having a corporate or a company or an export house or something to identify yourself with. But the beauty of this class is it actually gets you to look at the creation of your life as your business, the creation of your family as a business, the creation of your house as a business, the creation of the meals that you serve on the table as your business. There is nothing that is really small. It's all a creation. Some of it gets validated by the amount of money you bring home, and some of it doesn't get validated by the money, but you create something way greater, which cannot be validated. But it's an acknowledgement that shows up as your creations, whether it's your home, whether it's your family, whether it's your body, or whatever else.
Wow. In fact, when you were talking about, this, and that's what was going on in my head probably, and you are a mind reader, so to say.
Just me.
And it's like, every success story that we read of a unicorn or of any big corporate or any, as you said, only parts of it may or may not work for you. Not everything will work for you, because when that was created, somebody asked a different set of questions.
Exactly, sweetheart, just that.
And they did not replicate a formula. So there is no formula, but following your own awareness is what I get is the process of creation, and not really just about, there is practically, because no two individuals are the same, no situations are the same. I've looked at corporates in the same industry, they're not same, even if they're selling the same similar products.
Yes. Thank you for that, Paluk. That is so beautifully put. Yeah, it's your willingness to ask questions that are really not been asked before, that are just so out of the box, that actually bring different awareness to the table.
Yeah. And as you said, it's our life is our business, and it's just so expansive. And that's also probably an invitation to everyone in this universe to attend this class, whatever you have defined your role as, whatever you've defined your label as, whether you call yourself an employee or an entrepreneur or or homemaker, or anything else, like a small scale business or large scale business?
It's interesting how, we define our business by labeling it
Yeah,
as small
and as
scale,
I
large
was talking,
scale.
I was
Yeah,
thinking the same, that how much do we kind of compartmentalize our life, our creations into small, big,
national,
and
international, failing business,
yeah,
successful business, just managing business, surviving business, thriving business. There are all these, you're supposed to, in this reality, you're supposed to have a label that precedes your business, that's supposed to define your business. And now you define yourself based on the business. So if your business is successful, you go to, I'm successful. If in that moment, in those 10 seconds, you have a point of view that your business is a failure, you go into, I'm a failure. So it's almost like you define yourself based on what you define your business as. And you put it all together, and it doesn't really create for anybody. It doesn't really create for you. It doesn't really create for the business, and it doesn't create for the people that you're engaging with.
yeah. And how we define our business also has to be successful or unsuccessful. It's like, if one side of the P&L shows green, it's successful. And if it's X amount of green, it's like really successful. Or otherwise, it's like, it's not. So, yeah, I mean, I completely see the, how, and in that time span, like maybe 2 years later, that whole thing may turn around and it may become hugely profitable or whatever. But based on revenues, based on profits, and there are so many parameters that just define business. And if we could go beyond those definitions and see what it was creating in the world.
Yeah. And something that I really have started looking at business, at the creation of my life, I started looking at failure as just a judgment. And what you really do with the failure is a creation. It's like, that's how I look at the creation in my life. If that failure couldn't stop me, if I judge it as a failure, it's going to stop me. But what can I create with that can have me out create it? And in every area of your life, be it your body, be it your relationships, be it your money flows, be it the business. What if this is the energy that you could bring into your life? What would your creations look like?
Wow.
What could you create?
This almost seems like premeditated, but I have to share this, that I read this poem 2 days back, and it's in Hindi, and I don't know how many people would really be able to understand, but I have to read these 2 lines. And as you said, like, failure is a judgment. I can't read without my specs now.
Oh, don't you worry about that. I got there long back.
So there is a poet from Bihar called Nagarjun, and he has a poem called "Jo nahi ho sake poon kaam, main unko karta hu pranam." And when I heard those lines, I was just so blown away.
Wow.
And it was like, wow. I mean, do we really ask if things don't work the way we thought it should work or it should pan out? What is it facilitating us into?
Yeah. That. Just that.
However, in this reality, I wonder how many times we really acknowledge and celebrate a failure on the pretext of, oh wow, what is it going to facilitate me into great? Maybe it's facilitating me into something greater.
It's so normal to go into the wrongness of a failure. First you judge it, and then you beat yourself up for it, and I did wrong, and you go into the guilt, and then you go into the blame, and then you go into the shame, and it's such a black hole, and it's so much like quicksand, which you just get sucked into it, and you're gone, and you really want the business to succeed after that? I mean, where are you in the equation of all of that? You just deserted the creation in the name of failure, and you just allowed yourself to be sucked into a black hole that you're gone. But now, if you actually, that moment where something doesn't work out the way you would have liked it to, but you go into question with it, you go into aggressively asking questions in that moment. When I say aggressively asking questions, I mean, there is no space for a conclusion. There is no space for an answer. There is no space for the why, but there's just a question. There's just a question of what's right about this I'm not getting. There's a question of what is this? You're going to question of, if this isn't a failure, what is it? And you go into different simple questions, and you don't even have to look for the answers. And that's the beauty of, asking a question. You do not have to find an answer. You do not have to have an answer. You just have to ask the question. And that question starts to unfold certain areas of your life that you have very happily celebrated by putting it together and making it so solid. And now that starts to open up, unfold. And as it unfolds is when the situation, in a very enigmatic manner, starts to shift. And now what shows up is not really something that you can control. What shows up is something that may or may not be what you wanted it to be, but it will always be way greater than what you thought it could be. And that is business done different. That is the beauty, the magic, the creation of the business. Palak, I once heard Gary say that, most of us create a business for money. Most of us create a business because that's something that we have to do. Or many of us create business because, my dad did that, so I have to do that. Or my dad did not do that, so I must do that. Or there's always a reason why we create business. And what if you could actually look at those reasons of why you are in business today? What has you choosing a business? What has you choosing the business that you are in? And now looking at that and asking, is this really what you would like to do? Or would you like to do something different? Just that question. It doesn't mean you have to give it up and start something new immediately because, oh, this is not what I want to do. But acknowledging this is not really fun for me. And can I add something to this? What else can I do here? Because the money that you're looking to create from your business is money is just going to show up, right? From your creations. It's a byproduct of every creation of yours. So it's not like, you have to create a business to create the money. It could be one of the businesses that creates you money, but the moment you go to, this is the only business that will create me money, you actually put so much energetic pressure on the business that the business could actually start to stifle under it. So what if you could acknowledge what you're creating your business for? What if you can acknowledge how much fun you could add to your business? And money is just a byproduct. So once again, how we talk about the correlation and the communion and the convergence of money and business, not from a space of being one, but from a space of receiving from each other. It's like the body and the being. It's like the business is the being and the body is the money. Because your being doesn't require money, right? Your body requires money. So it's really about, if you, the being, was creating a business, what would that look like? Darling, I think you're on mute, Palak.
I'm just so blown away with, and I truly wonder how much fun will we have now that you've chosen to come to Bangalore.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that, Palak. Thank you for the beautiful invitation that you be my sweetheart. Thank you.
And,
I really am grateful.
So we are We will have you in Bangalore from January 7th, 8th, and 9th. And we're doing the class at Aham, which is another lovely place and such a contributive place. The class is available online as well as live. So anybody from any other city can just hop on. And
And we can share the link in the chat.
yes.
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 And we look
And,
forward to seeing you all.
Same here. So what would you leave us with before we conclude this call?
What would I leave you with?
I would
Okay.
actually go back and listen to this live once again, because I think the class starts from here itself.
It does, right? The moment you've chosen it, it started for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. So what would I like to really leave you with? I'd like to leave you with let me see. So if you, the being, was creating a business, what would that look like? And what would the brand be?
Wow. Wow.
Even if you are a bars facilitator and you have an excuse of there are 1,000 more bars facilitators, or if you're a CF and you have 1,000 more CFs, or if you are an entrepreneur, there's so many more who do this. But if you were created with the being of who you be, what would the brand that you be out there in the world?
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so
you,
much.
sweetheart. Thank you for asking that question. Yeah.
And we shall see you soon. And if anybody who wants to hop onto this class, please get in touch with me and we will get you on board ASAP.
Yes.
I will
And
share
let's enjoy Bangalore together.
Yes, definitely. You
Looking
would love
forward.
it. I tell you, after Delhi winters, you would love Bangalore.
Oh, yeah. January is the perfect time to come to Bangalore. I am so looking forward to this. Thank you all.
Forward. See
Bye,
you.
guys. Bye.
Bye bye.